said is what I saw, is what I said, is what I said. We're so bluffing.
Objection!
Yeah, nah. He's spinning in circles. I assure you they are quite based. Aren't you younger than me? Oh, now you're complimenting me, boy. What is this music? Edgeworth. I'm screaming. I don't want to scream. I'm tired. Apollo went yeet and skedaddled. I think Apollo is going to go murder somebody.
I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something.
Where are you?
Objection!
Your Honor, could you please come out from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise.
Oh yes, my apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, first the courtroom exploded. And then Mr. Tennant self-destructed.
I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tennant.
Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tennant's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense? Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trial thus far?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready.
Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? I take it you'd like me to give the opening statement this time.
Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. Well, he's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts.
Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Tarrant, escaped from the launch pad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and the rocket itself. The two astronauts used the launch pad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge. And how could the victim climb down the ladder if he's carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. But Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point?
Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Donna's argument was correct. So that means the testimonies of the first two people on the scene are suspect. There were two people who claimed to be the first on the scene, but can we truly trust their statements? Let's see, the two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos. You think that one of them might be given a false statement to the police? Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow, he killed my witness. He killed Detective Arm. He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright said that Blackwell has a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues that there was a third person in the lounge and that's who killed the victim.
Objection!
To make such reckless claims in a courtroom takes a bold man, or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you gone dotty already? Old man.
Objection!
We'll see who's the dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. How old are they? 28? How old am I? He's not even that much younger than me. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene.
They saw a third person.
I see my sister has been running her mouth. That's right, I almost forgot that Ara is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. No matter, she didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene. Director Cosmos, huh? Who is very suspicious.
Very well, bailiff. Please bring the witness to the stand.
Very suspicious indeed. Oh, I forgot my voice. What was his voice?
Well, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers.
Of course you have, I am Gary Cosmos. That's not right. What was it? I don't remember.
Dr. Cosmos Space Fighter, which is of course named after me, your Cosmos.
Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging.
7 years ago, I successfully launched a Hat 1 and...
Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I am trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony?
Oh, I see. That's fine, young lads. Proper appreciation of greatness. And allow me to begin my important testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history.
That speech of Prosecutor Black was just now. It sounded more like to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head.
Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please.
Here we go. Back at it.
Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went feeling control of and picked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Darren lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure. It must have been Starbuck.
I see. So in your testimony you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge. And just after the victim had been killed.
How the horror, the humanity, but what I said is what I saw is what I said. Courageous action it takes in the face of such terrifying explosions, what you say? To save my minor way personally into the epicenter of danger. Risking my own life for this.
Well, what do you know? Sounds like the director really cares about his men. Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had a peek from far away. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm going to have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else. Thank you for the hint, Ace Attorney. Alright, here we go.
Hold it!
So you couldn't see who the figure was clearly or what they were doing.
Sadly, there's only a thing that I can tell is that was those persons standing motionless.
The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his deed. Other explanation is there. I'm so close, but without evidence, I can't prove that person's a third party.
I don't relish in the fact of his age. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine Tiny Phil must have been Starbuck.
Hold it!
What happened to him?
Aura Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge. But she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly?
No, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area on their feet at the time. But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could say Darren, but I couldn't say who the person was.
So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck. Isn't that correct?
I would like to believe that Starbuck isn't the type of man who's capable of murder.
Objection!
When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct, Great Space Center Director?
Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Darren were there by that time. After we picked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished.
You mean they disappeared? That's odd.
Objection!
The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. When the witnesses weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness.
Hold it!
Hold on, Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off the scene?
Just for a brief senses, but as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by.
If you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time.
But what escape route could this person have used?
The direction opposite the control room, the southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way.
Objection!
All things are possible, right, Donald? The real question is, do you have any proof? Well... If we're just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and lunar researcher used to say that there's a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for what we've done to it. But I say, where's your proof to this quaint kingdom exists?
He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss.
And he's right. I still don't have any proof yet. The southern door was a possible escape route. I better make a mental note of that. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question?
Yes?
Why did you look away from the boarding lounge?
Oh, there was actually another tale behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Williams saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian protector of mankind, I tried to stop her.
What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure.
I imagine her instincts as a detective told her they were the killer.
I don't know about that. And were you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun?
I'm afraid I was too late. I wasn't able to stop her. She identified herself clearly and then... she fired 2 warning shots into the shadowy figure.
This information about Detective Arm's actions sound critically important. Please add it to your testimony. Wasn't there only one thingy-majiggy?
This is going to be a long playthrough, isn't it? If you presented 2 warning shots, why was there only 1 bullet in the thingy-majiggy?
Objection!
But wait, didn't we find the spare bullet? Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing?
You doubt my words, but there was something to be written down in history books.
Somehow, I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books.
Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so we can all understand?
You say that Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots into his head. And yet, only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene.
What?
Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once. We found the other bullet. We are so bluffing. And yet Director Cosmos is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirm that 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun.
Objection!
But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? Is he calling us on our bluff because we have the other bullet? You should know the answer to that already. I should? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun, the same caliber as the detective's gun. What? Oh, the bullet we had wasn't it from a 10 caliber? The rifling marks also match up. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun.
Rifling marks. They're like a gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct? And examining the rifling marks in a bullet can tell us the gun it was fired from?
One of the bullets the detective fired found its way into the holographic image display. The other bullet came to stop near the victim's oxygen tank. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. My beautiful contradiction gone. Oh god. So that bullet hole was from a .38 caliber, huh? I better update the record. Yeah, because the bullet we found doesn't match that.
Very good. Now we know the fate of both the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all your questions?
Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots? One hit the holographic display and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? No! No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun, but that doesn't explain out the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a 3rd person. Oh?
Very well, but it won't do us to keep us waiting. What piece of evidence suggests the possibility of a 3rd person at the scene?
Bum-bum-bum-bum-bum.
Take that!
Bum-bum-bum-bum-bum.
And what is this metal pellet supposed to be?
Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. Because that's how evidence works in Ace Attorney. You found it where? In a floor gutter at the crime scene. It looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a 10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of Detective Arm's .38 calibers.
Then that means...
Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. A 3rd person who had a gun that could fire 10 caliber bullets.
But you're going to have a contradiction for me, aren't you, sir?
And if that's true, it explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. This 3rd person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos?
Oh, it looks like you've detected my miraculous total survivor. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us.
What's this now?
Why wouldn't you say that in the first place?
Why would you say that in the first place?
What? You never breathed any word of this to me before.
Oh, well, the great man have a secret or two, don't you know?
Foolish old geezer. So Director Cosmos really has been hiding the presence of a 3rd person all along. Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw.
You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom, you were just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now please give an accurate testimony.
Here we go.
Detective Arm and I rushed into the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and tearing on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us.
Given that there was no third person in the lounge and the witness entered it, does that mean the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant?
Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Director Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have a security lock.
Objection!
Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandle one, and it is you who is cut down. Huh? Your reasoning could apply if Spaceboy were the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the 10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person.
Objection!
And where'd the gun go? But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by the police. Nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them.
Objection!
Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
Objection!
But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon.
Objection!
It's up to you to prove that possibility. And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. What evidence? Why, the detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all that tells us he is the culprit. I did forget about that. Look, your baldness, how deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine. Wow, he sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us just like that.
Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot, what did it hit exactly?
It hit me!
So does that mean you're a ghost?
I was wondering when you would realize it, your baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls.
Okay.
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Your baldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again.
Are you sure, in that case? How did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos?
Ah, I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life.
What?
That's wild. That's unbelievable. I have to check this out. Wow, look at that. There's one extra Gyaxis star. The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to feel really like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos.
Why did you conceal this information?
A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand.
I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out.
Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination.
Gosh, I forgot what he even said.
Hold it!
So in other words, you were fired at when you were at the control room door.
That is correct.
There's something not quite right about that. Director Cosmos, the bullet this person fired hit you, isn't that right?
Yes, it was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet the figure had when we were in time. But as the Cosmos would have it, the bullet bounced off my glorious Medal of Honor.
In that case, the bullet should have wound up somewhere around the control room door. Okay, so Director Cosmos was in the control room to the east. And while he was there, he was shot at by someone with a 10 caliber gun. But the bullet hit his metal, so he was able to escape with his life. He's a very lucky man. No wonder people think he's great. Hey, I'm pretty lucky myself, so if he's a great man, then I'm king of all the cosmos. Alright, let's... He's here. Okay, the control room's over there. Where was his bullet found?
Objection!
Yeah, nah. Detective Cosmos, I believe you're telling this great court a glorious lie.
A great man like me told a lie. Have you ever heard such a thing in all of history?
My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mystery figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found a 10 caliber bullet here. Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh! This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten already. Did the witness himself just tell you the bullet hit his metal? Of this, there is no mistake.
Objection!
But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Of course. I didn't think so. What? Oh, great, Director Cosmos. Yes? Is there something you'd like to expound upon? You were, in fact, not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that not right? What are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some use other than housing that bird's nest. Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. That makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being in the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I've got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director? If you don't tell the truth this time. Oh. Yikes! His handcuffs! You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. Alright, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Cosmos. Let's look at the room of the southern door. What? That's the complete opposite of all the testimonies given so far. And now you've lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. I have? How? Yeah, he definitely was not down there. The director and the detective were near the southern door. Unless he's the killer. Meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required print recognition. The corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control door. And the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one. My third person just disappeared like one of Trucy's magic tricks.
Order! Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie?
You were covering for the defendant, isn't that right?
Yes, it was all for the love of my men. If I said I was in the eastern control room, it'd mean the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant it could have been a third person. All I want to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control and invented escape rope for the third person.
What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant?
It looks like we've come to a conclusion. That the defense's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled.
No! It's over. Yikes. The judge is about to hand down his verdict. Yeah, nah. We got at least an hour longer of court here. Think, Phoenix, think. This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Wait, what if the whole premise is all wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. What if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would be the third person.
The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict.
Objection!
Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility.
Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright.
There is one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene, and that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was accessible only to them.
Very well, let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge?
Is it Candace or Yuri?
Take that!
What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here?
Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door, after all.
But that means...
Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness, Director Yuri Cosmos.
I gotta start spinning.
What? What?
Order in the court, I say. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail.
I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that and saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots.
Haven't hit on starboard side.
Captain Wright, it's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir. A magnificent shot.
Warning shots fired from the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept.
Cosmos, you have told a lie in this court once again.
I've been hit in the port side. The enemy's calling reinforcements.
Earth to Cosmos Control Center, requesting permission to ask that you return to reality.
My ship will not go down if anything less than no evidence.
Objection!
You literally have evidence. But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears its scar. If Director Cosmos is the third person Ara Blackwell saw, this third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun, and in return the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos?
Looks like you've just...
Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun when Detective Arm discovered him at the lounge. It only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you received from the third party will be all the proof we need to prove that you were the one there in the lounge.
Brace for the impact!
Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were the one in the lounge. I don't know. Wait. Door lock the east. I don't understand what they're getting at here. We already talked about the door. What evidence? What evidence are you talking about?
Take that!
I don't remember. No!
I don't know. I don't understand what you're getting at, buddy.
What about the oxygen tank?
Take that!
Nope. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Take that!
I make Steven think about.
Probably the bullet, right? Come on.
Take that!
The .38 caliber bullet found on the floor of the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos' metal. If we have that ricochet mark on the metal analyzed, I'm sure the caliber will match up. And if that mark proves to be from a .38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you are the third person we've been looking for. If that's true, then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank? That's why I wasn't sure about that. It was the 10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was the bullet fired from Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director?
No, you got it all wrong! What? The engine started again? It's a miracle. I'm not going down yet.
Witness, stop this at once and confess the truth. If you don't want the history books to say that a great man was a great liar,
Liar. Then accept your fate and tell the truth.
are you giving me orders?
May the right director of the Cosmos Space Center? Ah, but the cosmos revolves around me!
It's spinning in circles.
Someone get me out of this thing!
Order in the court. Will someone please stop the witness from spinning?
Yeah, you a little dizzy, buddy?
Whew, thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth.
While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark on the metal. It was made by a .38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's fire gun.
Are you ready to confess the truth, witness?
No, you got it all wrong. It's just a misunderstanding.
Is he gonna start piling on more lies? Looks like it. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth.
Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were in this third person.
Ah, forgive me, I'm so sorry.
So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulous cur. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly?
Ah!
The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this.
Fine, I told the truth. I just said, as you said, Mr. White. It's true that it was a boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Mom, but when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped in the control room. I then went past the elevators all the way around the boarding lounge one again. I got one Detective Mom pretended to be the second on the scene.
Dang. What a troublesome old man you are with such convoluted deeds and thoughts.
I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim?
Of course I am. When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great yellow Cosmos, the history-making incident.
Hold it!
It's Now to hold on just one moment, we just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbuck and Miss Aurora Blackwell saw was you.
No, it wasn't me. I saw a person as well. They were the killer. Why would I lie to covers for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall.
That is an excellent point.
Yeah, he just took the fall for him.
Well, it makes some sort of sense if he told lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still, a lie's a lie, Athena. So Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof?
Well, I just remembered I have an alibi.
I don't remember what happened. So, my sincerest apologies. But let's see how we do.
Miss Blackwell said she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct? Yes, and?
Well, I was at 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you like, they'll corroborate me.
The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I confirm that he has an alibi for the time specified. So, you're claiming that Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m.? And that you arrived at the lounge after that?
Yes, and I believe the person I saw was the same person that Miss Blackwell saw. Although, it was a pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure than less of a person. And I couldn't exactly see her face, but it was definitely a silhouette of an earthling.
As long as he has an alibi. We can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw.
Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please.
Oh. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside the fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door and well, the launch pad 1 door. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer.
So you were shot at by the killer as well? And then they disappeared.
Yes, so luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Turan's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang that must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured.
Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Right, what a mess this is turning into. So let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Terran and his killer, the culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but it actually hit Mr. Terran's oxygen tank and ruptured it. And then the killer disappeared and the director went into the boarding lounge. When Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him, judging by his metal, it looks like one of them almost took him out, too. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared.
I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeked back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed to the lounge straight away to investigate. But what I saw was Terra with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor.
So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route.
Vanished without a trace, it's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos.
Silence!
A riddle of the ages indeed, but I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great.
A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself, even if those around him don't understand.
Wow, that might be the first true statement he said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple, because it was Space Boy himself. When he was spotted by the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter-evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor?
No, because it was dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room.
That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, right, Dono? I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up.
Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help?
While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord. I'm coming after you, sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon. Discord, whatever do we do? Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him. Not me. I'm useless.
You got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind.
Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me. I need to know her backstory. Now. Alright, as I try to enter the lounge, the true killer inside. Yep, makes sense. Had to avoid getting shot. Okay, a little bit angry there. Okay, but he doesn't sound very surprised.
Got it!
Why aren't you surprised? He vanished. You must have thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air.
I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually.
And yet, at that time, you barely registered any shock at the occurrence.
What? What are you?
I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. He must have had a good idea of where they went. Isn't that right?
What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. And the area around the launchpad door is filled with smoke, making it impossible. As for the southern door, I was standing right there.
Exactly.
So it's nowhere for the killer to run to.
Maybe or maybe not. You went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Terran, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip through the southern door?
I hardly doubt it, as you recall, right after I entered the lounge. Detective Arm came rushing toward herself via the southern hallway.
And she's dead and conveniently can't testify.
I don't try to escape to where it would have been caught by her.
And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure that there was no escape route for the culprit to use.
It's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout.
There seems to be one more emotion that's at odds with his testimony. Go get him! Alright, back in the Matrix. Back in the Matrix it is! Time to pinpoint our way to victory.
Got it!
Why are you upset about that, huh? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launch pad door.
This is a great Gary Cosmos afraid. And what basis do you have for that largest accusation?
Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it.
I'm not, certainly not.
Director Cosmos, there's something about the launch pad door you're not telling us, isn't there?
Wow, he's speechless. Looks like he hit the nail on the head, boss. I'll just input those 2 pictures of data and yes! Just what I wanted to see.
It's a lot of noise.
Presto Congo! Congo? Presto Congo! Let's Discord! Looks like we're on the right track.
Thanks, Athena. Now to make sense of what we've learned. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launch pad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the launch pad 1 door. When we put these 2 pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here?
Take that!
The culprit went through the launch pad 1 door to escape, didn't they?
Yes, I mean, no! Disaster to starboard! We're gonna crash into an asteroid!
A master tactician you are not.
But the area beyond the door was filled with smoke, wasn't it?
True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. If we can just figure out what the director is hiding about the Launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies.
But the door requires fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could open the security lock, do you?
That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily gotten past that security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. I propose that the killer used this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. This guy, right?
Take that!
Hey, okay, that is unnecessary, sir. I don't remember. Guys, this isn't fair. I don't remember. Whose prints were found? This guy?
Take that!
Okay, chill. This is so unnecessary. I don't remember this case at all. This is why I can't take breaks. Yeah, it had to be this guy.
Take that!
That's...
Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen. It looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet.
You know, something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it?
Huh? Oh, yes, by all means.
There's a security camera in boarding lounge 1.
Right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor?
If the true culprit escaped into Launchpad 1 corridor, then that might be recorded on the security footage as well. Then the mystery would be solved. What do you think of my logic?
I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your boldness.
I beg your pardon?
Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point, doesn't it go out?
Oh my, the footage cuts off.
The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged, most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There is no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens.
And I thought it was such a good idea, too.
Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much, Grandpa Boldness.
Prosecutor Blackwell, how did you know about my grandchild?
I think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world. Setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge? There we go. I had to avoid getting shot. After the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. That's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side door. And then the detective shot at me. So you see, the killer could have only escaped to the launch pad, right? Were you doing something you weren't supposed to be?
Got it!
Is that why you're so surprised? Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective Arm found you and again when she fired? Isn't that a bit unnatural? Like, it's not, but he was really surprised.
Sadly, even a great man such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experienced surprise on occasion.
Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by.
Pardon me?
First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were of course again surprised when she shot at you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise reaction is the fact that you were more surprised when Arm came. That's what I noticed, was like, it was just like, boom. Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arm shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. That's what I noticed. The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there.
The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence Operation Hide Under Your Desk.
Stop spinning! Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. Not all the way.
Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launch pad door.
And whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape.
I wonder what it could be.
If he was doing something suspicious around that door, maybe we can spot some change between before he came to the room and after.
Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison.
Let's see. This footage of the door before Cosmos arrived. This is how the door looked after the director entered the lounge. Hey, look at that! There is a change. Something's definitely different. Director Cosmos.
What is it? What have you two been over there?
Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Arm found you, that's what. And that answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation.
Don't be ridiculous if you really don't. So you pointed it out already.
He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. I gotta look at this. Okay. Is this facing the different way? It is! I knew it. Come here.
Take that!
I knew it. The answer is this knob.
That's...
Your Honor, please take a look at this footage.
Let's see.
Take a look at the knob next to the launch pad door. As you can see, it's horizontal.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical.
And what does that mean?
It means that sometime between before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob. Uh-huh. After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos. Let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door?
Fine, I admit it. You're right, I did turn that knob. That knob is safely locked meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions. So I wanted to move the launch pad away.
You wanted to do what? Hey, didn't Paco tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully assembled, it's moved to the launch site. But the safety lock on the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first. I guess that clears up what the knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the launch pad to the launch site. I don't think so. The Launchpad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then where did the killer escape to? I guess that there are still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving the launch pad in more detail.
Fine. But listen carefully, for I'm about to give history-making testimony.
Alright, here we go.
I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock.
Why are you so happy about that? Why are you so happy about that? I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock? You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so. And yet, when you did it, you felt some joy as if you were very pleased with yourself.
How do you do it? How do you know everything is there?
Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology. Boom. So, care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda.
How did you know about that, too?
Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing.
But you have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. Even if I did, I would never ever tell you, so there.
I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake.
And how could you tell a man with such a great intensity, intelligence, and integrity?
Silence!
You're missing an Oxford comma. You, a man of integrity. Don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden? You've spouted nothing but falsity since you stepped up to the stand. You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyway. Unless you consider greatest barefaced liar an honor.
Liar!
His words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosions? My, how naive you are. You failed to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend. But and here's a thought for you. Immediately following the bombing, Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on the scene. What? Liar! So that means the director didn't move the launch pad? Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content. Liar! But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned the knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find out where the killer escaped to. You're sure it must have went somewhere? We just might find out. Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. I assure you they are quite based. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Or are you not man enough to, boy? Aren't you younger than me, boy? Boy. Talk about hitting below the belt. Youngins these days. I'm literally the oldest one here other than the judge. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Wait a minute. Maybe I have it all backwards. I bet he moved the launch pad to the location. What if the director turned the knob not to move the launch pad away? I was thinking that. But to bring it back to where it was supposed to be. What are you blathering about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? And then, after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot. All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back. And it would be right where the police found it. You made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck. Was what I said really that off base? It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you, however. A great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the lounge when our Astro Wonders made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for posterity in filmless film. Oh, right. So, to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy.
Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus! We know the launch pad must have been moved,
but our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction to each other.
Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be fake, taken with body doubles after the incident or something. On second thought, that's too far-fetched even for me.
Never actually boarded the rocket? Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe.
Huh?
Prosecutor Blackwell, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went into another place? And what if, when the director moved launch pad 1 back, it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? Cut the existential bull or I'll cut you. Okay.
Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself at once.
I know I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Listen up, boy. Director Cosmos' reason for moving Launchpad 1 was... I don't know. It could be literally any of these things that I don't know which one. To switch it with another place, right? Because he wanted to switch it with some other place.
I'm sorry, but did you just say, switch it? But what could he possibly have switched the launch pad with?
The other... Ugh. Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what was switched with the launch pad. Did they spin around? Wait a minute. Wait just 1 second. They were in the Space Museum?
Take that!
Wait a second. Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. It has all the same features as Launchpad 1 and can even be moved to the launch site, meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other.
You can't mean.
The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum.
What?
Balderdash. Balderdash! And yet, it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident.
I see Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places.
That's right, and with the two switched like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from Boarding Lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 1 from Boarding Lounge 2 and set the bomb on the rocket. Come to think of it, the door to Space Museum from Boarding Lounge 2.
Welcome, welcome. The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Exactly. Anyone could pass through the door to the Space Museum. There is no fingerprint recognition system on that door. In other words, with the two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted that bomb.
Uh-huh.
After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck into the Boarding Lounge 1 and waited there, concealed, in order to kill Mr. Terran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackwell, Mr. Starbuck, and the director all saw a suspicious figure, who, we can suppose after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into the Space Museum. After that, Director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back, without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Right, Donald? I see you know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Oh, now you're complimenting me, boy? Perhaps I should call you Swordmaster Bluff.
Okay. Was that necessary? Was that entirely necessary?
I'm a seasoned warrior who has cut down many a prosecutor.
Silence!
You're no Miles Edgeworth. But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword.
That's right. You have no proof I switched the launch pads.
Somebody needs a better anger management counselor. If the launch pads really were switched, there might be a record of it somewhere. At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other. So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Let's see. This is an image of Launchpad 1 corridor. Do you see anything different from when we compare it to the security footage? Huh? That number on the floor. Oh. Well, what do you know? Looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell. Idiot. And if this is just another bluff? Oh, don't worry, it's all right here. Right in this footage. Proof that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum.
Very well, then answer this for me if you would. What in this footage proves the corridor belongs to the Space Museum? The number.
Take that!
There's a 1 on the floor of the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor of the corridor on the security footage. Do you see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? It doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you see is actually part of a 2. Ooh, what? Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. Uh-huh. And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1 on the side opposite the Space Museum. And now that we know the two astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Terran, carrying Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level.
Just incredible. The two launch pads were actually switched. But you'd think someone would have noticed an event of this magnitude.
Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. Uh-huh. Spill it, Buster. Spill it.
Hey, bye.
No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth. Stop screaming. I don't want to scream. I'm tired.
My honor, my glory, everything is slipping away. Time to deploy my ultimate weapon. Galactic engine, ignition. What? It's gone haywire. It won't stop. My stars, my glory.
Why are stars shooting out of him?
No, that way. Ah!
Okay.
Bailiff, on your stand and after that witness.
Hi, buddy. How you doing? You look a little sad. Are you having blue feelings? Are you having big, sad feelings?
I see we managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm.
Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads?
I admit it's true. I switched to Launchpad 1 for the Space Museum.
It is good to hear words I can believe for a change.
Before you do, Your Honor, two things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? As for my second question, I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the two launch pads to begin with.
Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in that blast.
The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why. Probably not a good time to try to pry it out of him, huh?
No.
It is the perfect time. Okay, buddy? We are lawyers. That's what we do. So grow a pair and make him spill.
Excuse me, but you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing.
I don't see why not. Bailiff, help the director retrieve his stars. I don't trust this for 1 second. It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say?
I don't get it.
Don't get it. What don't you get?
Director, why did you do all that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the launch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us. Mr. Starbuck.
Starbuck, my boy, I'm sorry I can't tell you the reason why. But I had to do it to protect the Space Center.
Director, will I ever get the chance to go into space again?
Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy.
Then the dream is still alive. What is going on?
Silence!
Yeah, I'm with you, Blackwell. Like, what? You're not going into space, Starbuck, but a prison. I won't have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? Yes, I will accept that the launch pads really were switched. And if there were a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see proof of this third person's escape via the Space Museum.
Oh, that's a good point.
He's right, I don't have any proof. Starbuck, you will spill everything you know. What, me? Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood. If I'm going to die, I die in space! I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself. Ah! No, you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell.
That annoying, cheerful laugh. It can be none other than...
Champion of righteousness, Bobby Fulbright here, in justice we trust. Detective Fulbright. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late.
I don't believe we had an appointment.
I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady cross the street. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell you, justice sure is a full-time job.
Was it a fight between cats or... Why are you here again?
Because the defendant isn't the culprit and I came to make sure that justice is served.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fulbright. I always thought you were a bit touched in the head.
Nope, but it looks like you've succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let evidence of justice uncloud your judgment.
What evidence?
Come to think of it, he did say something about finding us some evidence.
I'm going to work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you.
I didn't think he was serious, though.
So what is it, Detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck innocent? Whoa.
Will it prove him innocent? Yes or no? It is indeed. Have a look at this. What's this? A lighter? That's right, a lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has the victim Clay Terran's blood along with his killer's fingerprints on it. What? What? Gumshoe could never. Gumshoe could never. Order! Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant?
You bet Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent.
This is it. This is just what I needed. Whose fingerprints are they?
Bro, whose fingerprints?
Your Honor, this is decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
Why? It's obvious.
You're all idiots. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall where this lighter was found. Not with pleasure. I don't want to do this. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Terran, they escaped with lighter in hand into the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred. Then finally, the killer left through boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in boarding lounge 1 after the murder. A fact that Director Cosmos has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there.
Silence.
Whose fingerprints? But the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that span of time?
Objection!
You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you?
But Director Cosmos testified that right after he saw the mysterious figure with the lighter, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwell, this lighter could only have been dropped by the real killer. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found on this lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit.
This does indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claims.
As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck.
No, there must be some mistake.
Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. It's always 7 years. What is it with Ace Attorney in 7 years? I understand your urgency because tomorrow...
Silence.
Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that. Is it 7 years and then the case no longer like it's closed or something? It's also, that's the amount of time when someone's declared dead.
Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? I know.
Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent, in light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime. A few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, not guilty.
Wait, I didn't have to prove someone guilty to get my defendant off for once? Phoenix does not look happy.
Yes, we did it, Mr. Wright! Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? With some help from Detective Fulbright. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you. And please thank Apollo for me, too. You all are the best. Oh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too. But that's going to have to wait.
Now that the verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned.
Dun, 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 dun.
Objection!
I knew it. It was too good to be true.
He literally already announced a verdict, idiot. It's too late to object, isn't it? It is. But, you know, Ace Attorney logic. It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong.
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict?
Of course he is. He's a prosecutor. Fulbright, what were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter? Yeah, I was saying, what? Whose fingerprints were they?
Huh? The results? Ah, ha, 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 ah! Ah, well, I was in a hurry, you see, and then there was that cat fight, and well... I kind of got carried away when I heard the prints were Mr. Starbucks, so...
You have yet to read it. Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Athena Sykes.
What? Well, there's a wrinkle.
Huh? I don't understand.
What's going on?
So says the report.
What?
What?
Huh?
Me?
What?
Order, I say, order! This soundtrack goes hard. Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for this. We just finished proving that this letter could only belong to the killer. So finding your print on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion.
I don't know how they got on there, but I know I'm not the culprit. She wasn't even there. This can't be happening. Was she? We built up our argument piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty. So how could it have led to this?
What have I done? Please forgive me. I'm sorry.
Order! Detective Fulbright, stop your crying.
What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad.
Order! Yeah, you will not have order.
What the heck?
Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we'd fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of the crimes.
That's so stupid.
Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong.
What is this music?
We had stumbled over the edge of reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness.
What? The heck? Why were Athena? Well, we know it wasn't her. So what's going on? I'm so confused right now.
I thought maybe Apollo,
Edgeworth,
Maya Fey, the sister, Athena?
Why?